it's been a while since we did a podcast, and quite a lot's happened. So we thought we've obviously changed how we're doing them, because we're now doing them using a piece of software that's just taken us 45 minutes to set up. So that's great. It's a good start. But I thought I'd bring Lauren on to go through the podcast moving forward. We want to be more entertainment based. We'll have Abs on, we'll have Dad on, we'll have Lauren on, we'll have maybe some members on, because we want them to be more entertainment focused. We don't want them to always be just talking about things that are going on in the gym, although there will be bits and pieces of that. This one though, to test out all of this new setup and to get some information out to you guys, we wanted to go through some of the changes that have come, some of the things that are coming, and I thought to do that I'd bring on Lauren, because she's in charge of she's the operational manager, so she can talk us through bits and pieces that have been going on. Well, you've got the agenda, so do you want to walk us through the first points of what has already changed, or whatever order it is you want to do things in?
Okay, so I thought that we could maybe touch on any changes that we've made to terms and conditions and rules.
So obviously there's been some terms changes. We did send out kind of communications to everybody to let them know that this was happening, and I'll be honest, this stuff is quality of life stuff. It's not, none of it's drastically impacting the way that we do or don't use the gym, but it's quality of life changes for us, for members, for things like that. So do you want to just kind of run through the key parts of what has and hasn't changed?
It benefits them more than it benefits us, and that was like our main thing when we were focusing on it, wasn't it? We just wanted to make things a little bit easier for the members' experience rather than kind of how we wanted to do things. So we no longer have a Thursday notice cancellation policy. You can request a cancellation and you can basically pick any date that you want, as long as it's not within like a certain time frame. Like the full explanation of it is within the terms and conditions, and you can make cancellations still through the member area and with us. Do you want to explain about missed payments and DD cancellations?
100% no. No, that's 100%
really boring.
your goal.
Basically, we have streamlined the process when it comes to missed payments. It benefits you guys more, and if you cancel a direct debit, it literally just cancels your membership at this point, because that's what happens if you cancel your direct debit. We take it as notification that you don't want to be with us.
So we've basically made the cancellation process simpler.
Do you want to talk about the minimum age?
Yeah, so the minimum age is that's a quality of life change. So previously it was 16 to join, now it's 18. Now obviously if you're 16, 17 watching this, it's not a benefit to you, and you were looking at joining the gym, and I can appreciate that. But as we move into this year, it's one of the changes that we've always had our eye on, which is to bring the age up.
It's also been requested a hell of a lot by members, hasn't
it's
it?
something that people ask for a lot, and look, a big part of running, a big part of mine and Dad's vision for this for Phoenix was to offer a high quality alternative to Pure Gym, and so we've put a lot of effort into like ensuring that our systems and processes work in a similar fashion. But when it comes to the gym itself, making the experience once you're here much better, and we do that through a variety of kit and the amount of kit and the vibe of the place, and improving the facilities and the shop and all that sort of stuff. So it's kind of taking a Me Too attitude, like they have an app where you can manage all your memberships, right, we do as well. They have 24 access, right, we do as well. And so on and so on and so on. And then layering on top of that, quality of life improvements where we go, okay, well they offer that, but we offer, this and this over and above. And one of the things that you'll see regularly complained about is younger people. Look, me and Abs talk about it all the time. We went to the gym when we were younger. You're not as focused. We do want this to be a gym where people are serious about going to the gym and want to make real improvements, and they want to get in and they want to be able to get on equipment. And where we were finding a lot of the issues with, be it vandalism, be it, behaviour that we don't deem acceptable, that was coming predominantly from people between the ages of 16 and 17. It's always the rule, the few spoil it for the many. But, I'm also not a believer that, be careful, because I don't want to, everybody's got an opinion. I don't personally think that strong, big weight training for 16 and 17-year-olds is appropriate anyway. Me personally, Abs would agree with me. You're not fully developed. yet, not even close. I mean, not fully developed at 18, but at least at that age, you know, you've kind of grown into your physique a little bit. Some of the, you know what it's like, you know, some of the people that are coming in at 16 and 17, you know, they're still kids. And I don't think that the type of environment that we are, I don't think this is appropriate for them at all. And so that it felt like the right decision to make. That doesn't mean that current members that are that age are being kicked out. They're not. They've been allowed to stay. Obviously, if they cancel and try and rejoin, they won't be able to. It's very simple. The process is, if you try and join online from now, you have to be 18. It's as simple.
Or if they're being silly, like the incident I was having to deal with yesterday, if you're silly, we will just reconsider having you as a member at the gym.
So we've come down really hard over the last 3 weeks since making the age change. We've come down really hard on security and behaviour. Lauren's been a big part of that. You know, we're working with some people, we're working with a company. Lauren's been working really closely with them. So a lot of the emails that you get, if you've, you know, let somebody in the gym or, you know, been caught, you know, messing around, leaving your weights out, whatever the case may be, that's the communication will be coming from Lauren. And that's why I wanted to bring her on, because managing people's experience. I had a guy yesterday who joined, and he was really, he just moved to the area. He really liked the gym. He went home, signed up, come in the evening. I spoke to him. He said hello to me just as he was leaving at the shop. I said, how did you find all of the sign up process? He was like, yeah, fine, all good. I said, what do you think of the gym? And he was like, mate, it's wicked. Just, you know, some people, especially at sort of 7, 8 o'clock, just, you know, messing about, big groups. That's stuff that we really want to come down hard on.
Because we do have that rule, don't we? We have the rule of the maximum number of people you should be training with, like no more than 3, because it also doesn't benefit you if you're on a machine and you've got 5 of you using the same machine. Like, what is the point in you training? Like, your rest period is just ridiculous at that point.
There's a big thing, right, which is like, we're an independent gym, but we operate in a very commercial way. So if you were to look at gyms and the way they operate, we are far more similar to a JD, a Pure Gym, or the Gym Group, than we are a Better Bodies or something like that. Because of the way we operate, the times are open, the unmanned hours, the app, the automated access, all of that sort of stuff. We're far more similar to that. And there's pros and cons, right? I feel like as an independent gym, we can offer a far better experience to members doing things the way we're doing them. The problem is that policing that goes on in independent gyms is harder in this environment, which is why we are putting such a huge amount of effort into rooting out and dealing with individuals who don't give a shit about other people's experience at the gym. They only really care about what they're doing. Those are the individuals that we want to identify and move on, because we just don't need them here.
That was one of the things that we posted about, like gym etiquette on the socials as well, because we're getting things like feedback from members where it is just stuff that's just annoying, and people just don't seem to grasp that they're an annoying person, like sitting on a machine in between their sets just scrolling, and then they get distracted by what they're scrolling through, and they've just been sat there for 10 minutes, and like people are hogging weights and stuff.
I think it's really important that people understand that, like, we don't have an issue with you being on your phone on a machine. Right, I do it. The way I track my workouts is via my phone. So I will open my phone after every single set I do, because I am inputting the reps that I did on that exercise, because that's how I track it. There is a massive difference, because I've put it up on stories before, you know, people sitting on their phones on machines and things like that. And people come back and go, whoa, I need to use my phone. You're saying phones are banned. And it's like, well, no, you're taking it to an extreme. That's not the case at all. There's a big difference between opening your phone and answering a quick text, or taking a quick call because someone's phoned you at work, or whatever the case may be, and then just sitting there mindlessly. We had a bloke who was heading his arm on a machine the other day. Like, there's a big difference between, you know, kind of natural use of this while you're on a machine and just sitting there predominantly focused on this and not training. There's a big difference. And we see it. Yeah, we see. Yeah, if you're scrolling through TikTok and Instagram and stuff like that, and you know it's 7 o'clock in the evening and there's a heap of people waiting for machines, then obviously we're gonna have an issue with it. But we have common sense. Yeah, if it's 2 o'clock in the morning and there's no one here, and you're leaning on a machine and scrolling through, yeah, we're probably not going to say anything.
It was like when people were saying that they were going up to someone and they were saying like, oh, how many sets you got left? And they'd be like, oh, just one. And by the time that you'd finished on a different machine that you'd gone onto because you were waiting for them, they were still sat there and they hadn't even done their final set yet. I think that's the thing that like members are getting annoyed at. I think it's just something even outside of the gym. It's just people need to be a little bit more mindful of other people.
And we're not going to fix gym culture, right? Let's be clear. I can take you to any gym anywhere in the world and you'll encounter many of the same problems. I'm not suddenly going to change that overnight, right? Sometimes we get some messages like, oh, can we make a rule where people have to let people work in and stuff like that? With the greatest of respect, no, because there's sometimes where, for example, if Abs is on bench, I'm not going to ask to work in with Abs. He's benching 3 or 4 plates. I'm 2 to 3, right? If he's got 4 plates on it, I'm racking it, re-racking it, every single one we do. It's not right that I said 2 to 3 plates. I'm nowhere near 3 plates. It's a ridiculous comment to even make. But the point is that would be inappropriate to work in. It's much better for Abs to turn around and go, hey mate, I've got 2 left, and then come back to it. So yeah, I think people have to be reasonable in the sense that, this is a building full of, it's 2,000 human beings that go to this. And I can't, we often get blamed for things individuals do. And I can't control the actions of an individual. I can, if it's reported to us, I can deem whether it's acceptable or not. I can speak to the person. I can choose to remove the person. But I can't prevent it from happening in the first place if someone turns up and just decides to do a thing or be a certain way. That's part of using a public space. I can't change that. Development for the future is in physical development, be it the legroom, be it bathrooms, which we'll come on to. I think we should touch on them. But I think for everyone listening, when we get Dad back, because he's on holiday at the moment, he's got just as good an idea of what we're doing there as anybody. And it's only right that he's a part of those conversations. But the legroom's a really simple one. So there's intention to put mirrors in there, or some halo mirror type situation in there. We did have another sign to go up, so we've got the be a badass with a good ass sign. We have one called that reads push today, pull tomorrow. I came up with these. They're all dad jokes and they're terrible, but they look cool. That one we're actually moving location, so there is just going to be the one sign in there. We've got the mirror going in there. Obviously, for anybody who's actually looked above their own eye line, you'll notice the ceiling is a mess in that room. So, look, me and Trevor had a genius idea of what we were going to do with the ceiling, and the outcome of our genius idea is what currently sits in there. And to give him credit, if Lee Dale watches this, he'll be able to tell you that he told us when we were doing it was a shit idea, and we went, shut up, go paint something. And did it anyway, and paid the price for it. So we've got a better solution. It's in the gym. I've done a template for it. We are going to install that probably next week, I would say. Well, whenever this comes out, it might already be up. We've got one additional piece of equipment that is scheduled to be going into the legroom, and that is a single leg extension, plate loaded. So similar to the standing single hamstring curl. So we've got a seated leg extension, which is single leg, which is scheduled to go in there. We're one of the first gyms that will get it once Primal have released it. They actually haven't released it as a piece of kit yet, so I can't get something that doesn't exist, but it is scheduled to go in there. I think there's this thing though where people think that we've got this like exclusive agreement with Primal. We don't. The Techno Gym stuff, so when it comes to cardio, I will always stick with Techno Gym. I know Techno Gym are 100% the market leaders for cardio, and if you go to any other gym, I promise you will not find cardio equipment that is of that quality in any other gym. So I stand by Techno Gym for cardio 100%. When it comes to pin loaded machines, that's where I think Techno Gym are not very good at all. And that's the stuff that we've already changed quite a lot of it. We'll be changing the other stuff out, and as we change that stuff out, you'll see us bring other brands in. I actually think Techno Gym, the plate loaded stuff that we've got, the pure strength range, I think is very good and is more resilient than a lot of the other stuff that we've got. So there's not a huge urgency to change that, but as we add things, we've gone from, oh, we need this, we need that, to we're into the nice to haves and the exotic stuff now. Not all of which Primal do, not all of which Techno do, not all of which Nautilus do, or Prime or Cybex. So we'll have to shop around a bit, and you will start seeing other brands come in as we go along.
You kind of just answered the whole of the next chapter without me having to even kind of prompt you for it. So we're on to like our last bit that we're going to touch on briefly, but like you said, when Trev's back, because you guys are the ones that have the ideas, you hash it all out between you, and then I just kind of deal with the organisational stuff behind it. It's what's still to come. So on my list, and you can pick whatever you want: changing rooms, lighting, because lighting is a thing that always gets mentioned by the members. App situation.
Yeah.
Potential expansion, 2025, 2026 maybe. A potential tweak to do with pricing or membership tiers.
In terms of bathrooms, we have a plan. It isn't the right time to do it now because it's January. Well, it's been January. Now it's the start of Feb. Jan and Feb, to do the bathrooms the way they need to be done, we need to close the bathrooms. Simple and straightforward as that. So picking the right time to do them, which is soon, probably late Feb, early March, is important because it's going to impact people's kind of usage of the facilities for a week or two. It's not a small job. We've got companies we're speaking to. It's not something me and Trev are going to do ourselves. It's something we're going to get some contractors in to do for us. We have the designs. We know they are going to be a huge step forward in terms of, not just being more comfortable, but enhancing the experience that people have when they come here, and that being a nice place to be. But also including some technology in there, which could, I hope, improve people's use of the gym overall. I won't go too much into it. I think that's something we'll save for a later podcast.
Completely.
And for when Trev's back, because it's something that he's quite passionate about and has been since we first opened the gym. In terms of expansions, muted at the moment is probably the best way to describe it, because the importance for me and for Trev is to get what we have right first. So does the gym look good? Yeah, it does. Will we be shifting the layout of the equipment? Yeah, there's a huge plan to shift the layout of the equipment, especially in the kind of pin-loaded area, to give the whole thing a better flow, more usable, fit more kit in, all of that sort of stuff. We have room to expand an area quite a lot larger than the leg room. It's a question of what do you do with it? Because I've got a plan. I know that Trev has a slightly different plan. I know that you might have a slightly different view, and Abs might have a slightly different view. And what's important is that we make that space right for the members. So when the time's right, middle of this year, later in the year, whatever the case may be, we'll bring it on a podcast like this, and we'll have the discussion with everybody, and hopefully make a decision together. So yeah, we've got the room to, the plans are there, but it's deciding on what we use the space for. We'll see a change in the lighting in the next couple of weeks, because myself and Trevor have got some stuff on order, which we're going to be putting up. What we needed was a platform big enough to get up there and do it, so that it's less warm, less like someone's front room, a little bit more even, so on and so forth. So yeah, there's a plan there. When it comes to the app, we are trialling an app with our service provider. They are developing it still. So how much I can talk...
The thing is we've referred to an app multiple times before, and I think people were expecting us to have, because we thought we were going to. And this is the case with when you run a business. Stuff doesn't always go to plan, or new stuff comes out and you end up moving.
It's not always in your control. So this hasn't been in our control.
No.
We use a CRM provider, and then everything plugs into that. So if you imagine you've got your CRM, this is where you hold all your member data, that's your kind of PC. Everything plugs into that, be it access control, be it security, be it payment systems, be it apps, be it anything, all plugs into that. So the open API, so what can plug into that, will determine what we can and can't use. the company that we use have relationships, and one of the people that we were working with, they had a close relationship with. They no longer have that relationship. It's not a direction they're moving in. And although we can butt up against them with that and go, well, wait a minute, it's important that we work with them to find the best solution, because what we don't want to do is be one of one on our own, sitting outside of their norm, because we won't get the support that we need. And that's the issue we fell into with Energy. Energy had, 100 clubs working on different systems with different access controls and different plugins, and it became really complicated, and everybody's support failed as a result of it, because it's not the norm. It's really important we stay a part of that. So you will see a change of app. It will be Phoenix branded. It will have significantly better functionality when it comes to paying arrears at the gate, signing up, all of that sort of stuff. I'm absolutely confident of that. Can I talk much about the detail? No, because they are releasing the final version of it in like a week or two. So even I haven't seen it.
That's the thing that's like really frustrating as like someone that sits in between like the members and like the company. It's like I always have to sit there and be like, this would be so cool to tell the members, but then at the same time you're like, I'm not able to tell the members yet. And like, you've also got stuff where it's like members are asking this, and I understand the frustrations with it, but I can't divulge this bit of information because of the companies we're working with, and it's always like it's so hard. One thing
we've spent a lot of time, me, Lauren, Dad, doing is really getting across to our service provider that the end user is the most important thing here. So the Azeo app is not end user friendly at all. Anyone who's used it, all of you guys that have used it, you'll know it's clunky, it's awkward, it's difficult to sign up to, it's not intuitive, it feels like a workaround, it feels temporary, and we've had that for quite a while now, because there was a plan to make it not temporary and have a white label version of it that's branded for us and more intuitive, and that never transpired. So again, not in our control, but the one thing I wanted our service provider to have is a real clear view of like, right, it's the end user experience. When a member scans in at the front door, if there's an issue with their account, I needed to tell them what the issue is. There needs to be a button there. They need to click the button and they need to go and deal with the issue, so that they can then get in the gym and work out, and they've not wasted a journey down here. Currently, it's just access denied, and they haven't got a frigging clue what it is, and that's not end user friendly at all. So we've put a huge amount of effort into spending time with those guys to make sure that's what takes place. So I'm confident it'll be a really good solution when it's here. We're definitely taking away one of the tiers, so we're definitely moving to a 1-tier membership. Every member will have access to classes. They're just not a huge focus for us. One of the things that Trevor always says that I've come to believe more and more as we've run this gym is you've got to be who you are and own it. Decide who you're going to be and be it. And we are not a gym that's going to put on 100 classes a week. There's gyms around that do that. And if you want a gym that puts on 100 classes a week and has huge variety in the facilities for it, there are gyms out there that offer that. It would be like going, well, I'm an Italian restaurant, but I hate the fact that I lose customers to the Greek restaurant down the road, so I'm going to start doing Greek food as well. You'll end up doing every type of food and none of it well. You've got to decide who you are and be it, and that's what. And we are a strength and conditioning facility. We are a bodybuilding gym. We have a bigger variety of equipment than you'll find in many other facilities. We are accessible. We have a vibe unlike anything you'll find nearby, and we have our selling points, and we have to focus our energies on them. So all members, to the classes that we do run, all members will have access to those. So that's something we're definitely doing. As we said earlier in the podcast, there is a focus from us on quality of life changes. And one of the things that I truly believe is that it doesn't matter how good we make a gym, if it is packed 24 hours a day and you're queuing for kit, then it's not a good gym. It'll impact your experience. If I took you to the best gym in the world and you had to wait 20 minutes to get on a leg press, you'd walk out that gym going, that was shit, I'm not going back there again. So we've got to deal with a flow of people. How we do that is still up for discussion, but we will do a podcast in the near future once we have decided what we're doing and inform everybody.
At the minute, it's just watching to see what, because obviously we've implemented an age limit now. We've moved the age limit. We need to see what the impact is of that before any other changes happen.
I'm not going to sit here and pretend that a price increase isn't on the card somewhere, because at the moment we are the cheapest gym for a very long way. I think the next cheapest gym to us is almost 25 minutes away, and I don't believe for a second that the quality that we've got in this gym is the cheapest for a 25-minute radius. Don't believe that for a single second, and I don't believe the members would think that either. However, that price increase has to be justified, and we would never put a price up without a justification. Let's just be clear, this is not an announcement of a price increase right now. This is just an open discussion between me and Lauren and whoever watches this, whoever bothers to actually watch it. So yeah.
The thing is like, you can never say like, oh, the price is never going to go up, because like, imagine if the price stayed the same as it is now for 5 years. In 5 years' time, do you really think that the price will still be the same?
So we monitor all the prices in the local area. Why? I don't frigging know, because we never do anything as a result of it, right? But we monitor, Ballantyne's, Pure, blah, blah. I think Pure Gym's price went up by £3 a few months ago. Ballantyne's has definitely gone up. I'm not going to list them all off, but essentially everybody's price has gone up, especially since Labour announced the changes to do with rent and rates, and that the retail discount that we were getting for rates is now gone. So everybody's costs went through the roof. Our NI contribution costs went through the roof, and everybody reacted to that by putting their price up. We haven't freaked out. In fact, nothing that's happened since we took this gym over has made us go, oh shit, we need to put the price up. So we're not doing it due to, to date we've not done it to react to anything or in the pursuit of profit or anything like that. It's got to be or in reaction to what other people are doing. It's got to be, do we believe that we offer value for money at the price that we're charging? And that's the question we have to ask ourselves.
Last thing, because you touched on it in an Instagram story randomly one evening. We get questions about it all of the time. The multi-story car park. You had your incident with it the other day where you realised that they hadn't been locking it up. You are in contact with the council, aren't you?
Yeah, so I threw my toys out my pram and spat my dummy out the other day.
Quite literally.
Because this has been every single time it gets to winter, every single year since I've owned this gym, I have thrown my dummy out. I spat my dummy out over that car park because it cost them £5 million to renovate that. £5 million of local money they spent on improving that car park, and I don't see it. I don't see how £5 million been spent on that under any circumstances. It's had some paint and a few lecky charges put in it. I don't know what £5 million has been spent, but ultimately that's a public service, that car park, and it's owned by the council. And they were paying a company to come out and lock it up every night. And that company was having to come back and let people's cars out because they'd left them in there. And it seemed like money that they didn't need to spend, because you're spending money to not serve the local community after a certain time. I don't see why any local council would do that. What frustrated me this time was turning up to it and discovering that actually they weren't even spending the money to lock it up anymore. They were just turning the lights off. So they're just killing the lights, so it's really difficult for anyone to park in there. They're advertising that it's shut, but they can't even be bothered to pay the company to come out, lock it and secure it, which is the very thing they told me they didn't want it open 24 hours for, was for security. And suddenly that's no longer important. So it feels like a take with the left and take with the right situation with them, and it's really wound me up. So I have spoken to Jason Smithers. I'll name drop him because he's the head of our council. He's the Conservative leader of our council. And I have requested a meeting with him. Now he has come back to me, and I'm just waiting for his assistant to come back and book me in, me and Trevin, and we'll go and have a sit down and a chat with him. And I'm confident that we can get something agreed, because I think it makes sense for everybody. There's been some incidents of car theft because people are having to leave their cars on the side of the roads. For other businesses, nothing to do with us. And that's been in the news quite a lot lately, and I think they can have a big impact on that if they just utilise the thing they spent all that money on, and open that 24 hours a day. So I've done my wrap it up bit. You can rip it from me. No, you haven't.
That's boring. I can't edit that.
Well, you're going to have to try to, because I'm done.
Super. On that note, someone's knocking on the office door, so you've got to go.